Hi, I'm Marianne Aliardi.
And I'm Tony Farmer.
And thank you to our sponsor, PT Booster.
Today we're going to talk about how to make compost, which is super important, but it also means Marianne might have to come in contact with a worm.
Marianne is not going to come in contact with a worm. I understand how that composting is super important, but there are some things that I just will not do.
You say that every time, but you're going to be fine.
I'm not. What?
What do you dream about? You ready?
I am not at all ready.
All right, we're gonna need 2 5-gallon buckets, some leaves from your backyard, a little bit of compost or garden soil to drill. Cardboard is optional, and a banana. I use a little biostimulant. This one's called PT Booster. And you'll need some worms.
That's as we were saying.
But I'm gonna keep them over here.
I was wondering where the worms were.
I'm gonna keep them over here.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we need to give them a little oxygen, a little air supply, because they breathe oxygen just like we do. That's why when you go out after a storm and it's poured down rain, you see worms all over the sidewalk.
Yes.
They were drowning underground and they will come to the surface. So we want to make sure we find a balance of oxygen, water, and organic material.
Okay.
So I've already drilled holes on the bottom of this before you got here. And now we're going to just drill some on the top so that they have some oxygen.
I was thinking when you said you already drilled the holes that you were like, yeah, I'm not going to have Marianne do any more drilling.
You can do
I got
this.
it done. Yeah,
Come on.
All right.
Girls with power tools.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Now back out.
Wait.
Oh,
Okay.
and you hit reverse even. I'm
did.
impressed.
It took 15 times
All
and
right.
I figured it out.
So I'm only going to put like 5 or 6 holes in the top. I will warn you that worms can climb the inside wall and escape from here. So it doesn't happen a lot, but some people will tape or glue down a little piece of screen or something, anything where they could still breathe. Oxygen can move through, but they're not escaping.
Where do you keep this?
I keep this in my kitchen a good part of the year.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I keep it right next to my compost bin because I put food scraps in here, and if I have too many food scraps, they go in here, and this goes to my compost.
Where in your kitchen do you keep this?
Under the sink. So now I'm going to put this inside the other bucket, and the reason is because this is going to be very moist and even wet in here. We're going to wet it like we would the ground outside. Worms don't want to drown in too much water, but they don't want to dry out either. That will kill them. So this will just catch anything that falls out the bottom, any water, liquid, or any worms that also want to escape down the bottom.
Okay, but they go through that, they're dead, right?
If I find them in time, they'll be fine. But if
How did you find them?
Well, I check my stuff regularly. I check my garden regularly.
Yeah, but the more I hear about the worm farm, the less we're not having a worm farm.
We may have gone a step too far with Marianne on this one. I've pushed her too far. So now we need to fill this up with food for the worms, things that we want to get rid of in our garden or our house, like food, scraps, or leaves or whatever. We're going to build a home for them. So I'm going to add a bunch of leaves, which is excellent food for worms. They will spend all winter breaking this down outside. What would ordinarily just be something you would bag up and send to the landfill is now being repurposed for your garden. Then I'm going to add a little compost or soil from my backyard because this is filled with microorganisms that work with the worms, almost like giving the whole pot a head start. And then I'm going to add a little cardboard in here. You don't have to have cardboard, and it does break down pretty slow. Honestly, if you have little kids and you're teaching them to garden, give them this job. It gets rid of the cardboard, the worms will eat it, but it is probably the slowest thing to break down in here. So I'll add all these in here. So now I need to add some water to this because worms can't dry out. I don't want to drown them, which is why I have drainage holes in the bottom, but I need to make sure that this is wet for them because their natural habitat is wet. And also water is an important part of compost as well. You can't have a dry compost bin. It will never break down. You hear it draining out the bottom there. Okay, so now I'm gonna add a banana. And the reason I'm adding a banana, worms have a sweet tooth, and then the worms will gravitate to that right away, get started, get comfortable in their new home, and it's like house hunters.
Oh, nice.
So then I want to add a little biostimulant. There's a couple of these on the market. I like PT Booster. You have to shake these because they'll settle at the bottom. And all this does is speed this whole process up. It wakes up all the microorganisms. It's good food for them. They all come alive. They work with the worms to break this down really fast. So I'm just gonna put a little capful in. Now I know everybody's ready to go. So then I'm gonna add the worms.
Okay, so wait, so the purpose of this is?
This is a working farm. So the worms are going to eat everything in here. They are going to create the richest, most perfect soil for the garden, full of nutrients, full of macronutrients, and even some micronutrients, and they will break down my food waste.
Right.
It can take 1 to 3 years for a pile of compost to be ready in your backyard. Some say even longer. This will break down in a matter of weeks or months, and I'll look in here in a couple of months and you won't see any of this. You will just see worms and beautiful soil. Okay. And this is my little container here. I have about 50 worms in here. I really like to start with about 100 though. And you can order these online. These are red wigglers, and the reason I use red wigglers is they are very hard workers. They're fast at this process, so you can use worms from your backyard, but they're way slower. They would prefer to be outside in the ground. They can survive these temperatures, whereas red wigglers really can't.
There's 50 worms in there?
About.
I don't see any.
Well, they don't like sunlight, so as soon as I exposed them to sunlight, everybody dove down.
Okay. Are they really small? How can there possibly be 50 worms in there? Oh my God! Tony, you're killing me. Oh my God!
Some of them are big guys. Here, here's a big one.
Oh God! There's not a chance. All right, look. And it's even worse when.
Oh, I know. It's like a creepy, horror movie.
Horror show. Yes. Oh, really, Tony?
So these are,
God.
I'm super grateful for them. They're working hard for me even now. They're going to work hard when they go in here. They're going to start breaking this down today. All right?
Yes.
So this is pretty simple. Nothing to this. And you don't have to handle them when they
There's not a chance. I
meant generically our viewers don't have to handle them, because you can order them and they come in a little bag and you can just dump the whole thing right in. So I'm just gonna sprinkle them all in here in their happy new home. And then I wanna make sure, I could cover them, but they're gonna do a deep dive right away to get away from the sunlight.
Are you really not gonna pick them up?
Oh, no.
Can you put your glove on it? Could I get her to put her glove on and do
put
it?
your glove on it.
Come on, why? I just stood there and said there's not a chance I'm picking one up.
Because you're being brave and you're overcoming your fears. You're setting a good example for your daughter.
How much? What am I gonna do?
Just pick one up. Just hold one.
Okay.
Try not to look so excited.
I don't want to do this.
You know what? When I do this with classes, 4th and 5th graders, they all want to name the worms.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's very cute of them. If this thing
He's
starts
covered
to
it. He's got
move
dirt on him.
on my hand.
Right? Well, he's going to. He's alive. Come on, you can do it.
Oh my God. It's disgusting. I mean, really, it's disgusting. Okay, I got it. Great. That was fun.
We'll name him.
It's moving.
We're gonna name him SJ. Okay, listen, SJ. Go enjoy that banana, and then I'll put the lid on.
Oh my God.
And my worm farm is complete.
Honestly, I feel sick to my stomach. Seriously, I do.
And then, once you feel better, I'm gonna put this under my sink, and I will add periodically. I may come out and grab more leaves or other material, but I'm mainly gonna be adding food from my kitchen that I don't want to end up in a landfill, but that will make beautiful soil. So we'll post a list of all the things that can go in here safely. No meat scraps, oils. There's a few fruits that have an enzyme in them that could kill the worms, but we'll post that, and then everyone who wants to build a worm farm will know exactly what to go in there.
Lucky for them. I will not need that with this.
I haven't convinced you?
You have not.
All right, well, I have good news. Everything that you would ordinarily put in your compost worm farm, you can put on your compost in the backyard.
Which you taught me how to do last fall.
Composting is not hard at all.
No, it's gross.
It is a little gross.
Yeah.
But it's not as gross as you think it is.
Okay.
And not as gross as climate change. So
Yeah,
so let's
okay.
go
Yeah,
for it.
all right, you got me there.
So all you really need is a space in your yard to do this. And you can have a container. Some people do their compost right on the ground. There's
Yeah.
a couple reasons why you might want to have something to protect it, because things can blow away.
Yeah.
Or just you're keeping it neat.
Well, yeah, I don't want a pile of garbage out in the open in my yard.
Let's not call it garbage. It's going to look like lawn refuse.
Okay.
Okay? You need just two ingredients. We call them the green and the brown ingredients. So brown is all the dead ingredients, leaves and sticks and anything that has turned brown. Even grass clippings, once they turn brown, we consider them brown ingredients.
Okay.
And then we need the green or wet ingredients, which is anything that is still vibrant and green, and all of our food waste. And the ratio is around, you do not have to get this perfect at all, but about 3/4 of brown to about 1/4 of the wet green stuff.
And how do you do that? Like, do you I'm not coming out here every time we have dinner.
I have something to show you.
Okay.
Hold that thought.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Where am I supposed to keep this?
This is a very traditional compost bin. It's got a little filter, a charcoal filter inside so nothing smells.
Yeah.
And I keep this under my sink.
Oh.
I will admit it, on occasion my husband gets mad at me and puts it outside, and then I have to hunt for it.
Okay. Because it
It
smells.
should not smell.
Okay.
But if you leave it for too long, even with the charcoal filter, little bugs will find you, which we don't want.
Okay.
But you shouldn't have that problem. Once a week, you should be dumping this outside. So you keep it under the sink.
Okay.
You scrape your stuff, or you're cutting onions and you've got the leftover and they go in there. And then as soon as it gets full, you come out. And this is all you do for compost. You're going to come out to your compost pile, you're going to dump this on, and you're going to cover it with about 6 inches of leaves and leave it.
All right, so this can go in, right?
Yes, this is going to be great on your compost pile.
Yeah. This is gross cantaloupe
So
leftovers.
this would be the wet green ingredients.
Okay.
Right. And cantaloupe will break down and be a beautiful addition. Kind of
Great.
We didn't get to eat those because they didn't ripen, which is okay. But now we're going to return all the nutrients that they took out of the soil back to the compost pile and then back to your garden.
Good. Okay.
And we do that for a year.
Okay.
And at the end of the year, we flip the whole thing over.
Yeah.
We start a new pile, and the old pile becomes our compost 1 year later. It's a 2-year cycle.
And that compost becomes soil?
Garden soil.
Okay.
Yeah, beautiful, organic, rich garden soil.
Will that actually happen to me? I don't know.
Absolutely will.
Can she mess up garbage? I have a confession. I haven't touched the compost since we filmed back in the fall.
That's okay. A lot of people neglect it the first year that they do it because they feel like they don't know what they're doing. But the spring is actually the best time to start. So let's revisit that and we'll get you back on track.
Okay. Yes, we will. I will get back on track. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you to our sponsor, PT Booster, and we will see you next week.